Hey guys, so we don't have too much new stuff to talk about today via what's going on in our astrology chart. We are carrying over a lot of the same themes and vibes that we had present yesterday for our new moon in Gemini cycle. If you missed that video, you definitely might want to bounce back and check that one out, because what we're dealing with today is kind of in alignment with what we had going on yesterday. And of course, that energy from yesterday is what is going to be carrying through and unfolding all month long. But today we are still dealing in these Mercury-Saturn vibes. We have a sun and moon both in the sign of Gemini right now. The moon in Gemini making aspect to Saturn today. We also have Mercury retrograde, ruler of the sign of Gemini, in a square to Saturn. This could definitely be bringing up some interruptions, some delays, some setbacks in regards to our perception of our forward progress at this point in time. But on the other hand, it really does give us this focused, diligent energy for getting some hard work done, actually. So we do have that working in our favor right now. So let's jump into the chart, you guys, and see how all of this is specifically playing out for us today in terms of our energetic blueprint. Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Today is Tuesday, May 31st, 2022. My name is Aubrey, and this is your astrological energetic outlook of the day. If you guys stick with me until the end of the report, I'm also going to be talking about some tarot cards that came out today in conjunction with the energy, as I always do on my weekday report. So that is coming as well. But let's start with the astrology. As I said, not too much going on today that really is that differentiated from what we had playing out in our new moon chart yesterday. Both the sun and the moon in the sign of Gemini still. Of course, we had our new moon in Gemini yesterday, which means that the sun and the moon came to the same degree in the sign of Gemini. This happened at 10 degrees of Gemini, relatively early in that sign. And so we still have our moon transiting through Gemini today. Of course, the sun is still there as well. So sun and moon, both luminaries in the sign of Gemini, ruled by Mercury, who is currently retrograde at 27 degrees of Taurus right now, forming a square to Saturn. As I said, the moon in the 20-degree range of Gemini today is also going to be forming a trine to Saturn. So we have two Saturn aspects going on in terms of this Gemini Mercury energy. Mercury itself in a 1-degree orb off square to Saturn. This actually is building. Saturn is at 26 degrees of Aquarius. Mercury retrograde is at 27 Taurus. So this is not energy that we are coming out of, you guys. This is energy that is building and that we are coming into as Mercury is retrograding backwards and will come to 26 degrees and make this square exact tomorrow, I do believe. But we have that, okay? And I talked a bit about that in my report from yesterday, and I will talk more about that today. But we also, as I said, have the moon in Gemini forming the trine to Saturn. So we have a Mercury square to Saturn, and we have a Gemini moon trine to Saturn today. So this is definitely triggering and activating some Mercury-Saturn type energy, Mercury-Saturn type vibes. And as I said, this is what was present for our new moon. So this is some energy that we should be acquainting ourselves with, because it is likely to be carrying through all month long. But in terms of the specifics of today, Mercury and Saturn together. Mercury is our messenger planet. It rules our thoughts, our ideas, our communication, things going back and forth, transaction. It also rules siblings, specifically younger siblings, but it is just generally the flow of information and coherence and cognition and understanding. It rules the logical faculty of our mind, what we're thinking, what we're saying, how we're perceiving reality. Saturn, on the other hand, rules restrictions and limitations and challenges and duty and responsibility and obligation, and it refines things. It does do that, but it also just has a tendency of pulling some things back. It also, Saturn is the Lord of time and the Lord of karma, and we're dealing with Saturn. Things can have a tendency of slowing down. And we're also dealing with Mercury retrograde right now, which means Mercury is moving backwards and is moving at a much slower pace than Mercury's typical fastest planet in the zodiac moving through the sky energy. So we have two aspects of delays that are going on right now. One in terms of Mercury retrograde, in and of itself. And then we add in the fact that Mercury retrograde is also making a square aspect to right now. And even our moon today in the sign of Gemini, ruled by Mercury, also making aspect to Saturn. Now, this moon in Gemini is making a trine aspect to Saturn, which is a much different vibe than the square aspect, but nevertheless, we still have Saturn being specifically activated by these Mercury Gemini vibes in two different locations today, while we also have Mercury retrograde. So, this is really telling us that this communication or this expression or these ideas like forward progress in one way or another, forward movement may definitely feel held back, like withdrawn, limited, restricted, frustrated, interference with the forward movement of our plans may definitely be coming up at this point in time. We may feel like there's some type of resistance that we are fighting against in terms of actually moving forward with the ability to pursue our goals and our plans, like I said, at this point in time. This can also definitely bring up, we're talking about Saturn. Saturn also rules authority figures, rules, regulations, bosses, upper management, institutions, like that type of stuff as well. And this could definitely be bringing up conflict in regards to rules, authority, and that type of stuff. Rules, authority, regulations, restricting, limiting, holding back expression in one type of way or another. And, this could be creating quite a little calamity for us, because remember, we do still have Mars and Jupiter together in the sign of Aries right now, which is all about like really unleashing our personal self-expression, like aligning with and fighting for and standing in our personal truth and fighting to pursue, or fighting for the freedom to pursue that path in alignment with like our genuine authenticity. And when we have that going on simultaneously, really sort of lighting this big fire underneath us to charge out in like a new direction and take a risk in alignment with our genuine truth and who we really are and what we want to express at this point in time. But simultaneously, we also have this energy that is like limiting that progress and holding us back and slowing us down and stifling our expression. This could definitely create some type of like internal irritation or frustration, or even, again, like I was saying, these feelings of like just being more pessimistic. If you watched my video from yesterday, I was talking about how a lack of optimism, which would be, pessimism, sort of seeing the glass half empty, or this sense of maybe like an expanded sense of depression or something, is something that maybe we could be dealing with over these next couple of weeks, while we have these two very contradictory energies simultaneously playing out. On one hand, really wanting to move forward in this new direction based on, what we've learned and the insight that we've gained and the shift and the transformation that has gone on within us, and wanting to embrace that and embody it and step into it and like take off in this new direction. But simultaneously, it may be experience, life, reality may be presenting us with these obstructions to that forward progress, to that forward growth, that could be slowing us down, bringing some frustrations, and causing this sense of pessimism or depression, or perhaps feeling like, we're failing in one way or another, or we're not up for the challenge, or this, that, or the other. But you guys, I feel like we're in a period of time right now where time is moving a little bit slower than the shifts and the changes that are going on within us. And so I feel like this cycle, because of this retrograde and because of these Saturn aspects, this whole Gemini cycle, not specifically today, although this energy is very strong today, that we are in a process of needing to have patience and needing not to attach too much to our perception of things as they are now, because I really feel like this cycle is sort of trying to teach us to have some patience and to wait for time to catch up with the vibrational changes that have been going on within us, so that we can actually begin to see the outward manifestation and expression of the internal shifts that have been taking place over this past period of time. So we have that as well. We really may not be viewing our reality like hyper clearly in this energy as well. Mercury retrograde already can have us in sort of a state of confusion in one way or another, or just misinterpreting the facts and the data. And then when we add in the square to Saturn as well, this can give us sort of like a narrow-minded approach to viewing our reality, and because of, the nature of these planets and what's going on, that narrow-minded view can have a tendency, again, of being this more like dark or gloomy or pessimistic or depressive lens through which we are seeing things. There are also some Neptune aspects playing into this as well, which has a tendency of clouding our view or perception of reality when we're talking about Mercury and Neptune coming together. Mercury will actually, in the later degrees of Gemini today, be forming a square to Neptune. And for the new moon yesterday, Mercury was itself, not the moon in Gemini today is what I'm referring to, that will be forming the square to Neptune, but Mercury itself right now is also in a sextile to Neptune. So we have two Mercury-Neptune aspects going on as well, although they are not, I don't feel, quite as strong as the Mercury-Saturn aspects and our tendency that we may be having to feel those. But this Mercury-Neptune energy as well also can have a tendency of, like I said, like clouding our clear view of reality. So we're kind of being hit on like several different fronts in terms of this lack of ability to perceive reality as it truly is in this moment. And we could be, experiencing a sense of confusion or a sense of disorientation generally, feeling like reality is not lining up with the progress that we know we've been making inside and the work that we know we've been doing, and sort of just like looking around like, what is going on? Like, things should not be like this at this point in time based on, what I know I've been doing to move myself forward. But again, I feel like we're just in this window right now with all of this like retracted energy, limited energy, held back, slowed down energy, where the outer reality has just not caught up yet, the physical 3D reality, to the shifts that we have been making in this more 5D spiritual, internal, vibrational, frequency-based level. So those things, you guys. Also, Mercury retrograde right now as well in the sign of Taurus. We are really in a process of reevaluating our values and our sense of personal value and self-worth, and also the resources that we perceive ourselves as having within us, and the partnerships that are in our lives right now, and if those partnerships are conducive to this progress that we want to make going forward at this point in time. Really strong period of reevaluating and rethinking everything along the lines of value, resources, and partnerships, connections with others, and the projects that we're working on, and how we're using our money, and the type of relationships and connections and partnerships and work relationships that we feel are conducive to our success and to our forward movement at this point in time. And this reevaluation of our own value and our own worth and our own self-love, and what that does in terms of changing our perception of what we want externally in partnerships, and what we consider to be, abundance and to provide value to our experience at this point in time. All of these things really being reconfigured right now. And that is another reason why I kind of feel like we're in this sort of pause period, or this like holding back of action period, or this time where we are sort of just needing to wait a little bit, because we are in such a state of flux right now. There are so many big shifts and transformations going on within us. We really do need to allow ourselves the opportunity to process this stuff before just like jumping in and taking some big impulsive action with Mars and Jupiter in the sign of Aries to move ourselves forward. Like, we want to be sure that we are doing it from a place of that is going to create a solid foundation for us to take that leap. And that's another thing, like, we're talking about Saturn. Yes, Saturn has a lot of these more difficult qualities and tendencies in the way that the energy manifests and operates. However, it's because Saturn wants us to do things right. Saturn wants to refine things and bring them into their best version, so they have the greatest potential for success in the development of their manifestation. And Saturn in this energy really wants to make sure that these new mental frameworks that we are developing right now are solid and are based on something real that can lay a foundation for us, that can take us, far into the future. Saturn right now being in the sign of Aquarius as well, the paradigm that we are moving into right now, these mental shifts and these mental transformations that are underway are very important. And it's very important that we go through this process properly so that we come to this viewpoint, this perception of reality, this mental atmosphere, this mental framework, like I said, that is conducive to our success in the things that we want to build and the goals that we want to achieve moving forward into this new paradigm that is a paradigm of authentic alignment and the freedom, the liberation to experience, embody, and express that. And that is sort of, where we have this little fire being lit under us right now, and we sort of want to jump in, but Saturn is saying, no, slow down, make sure, because, we've been through so much and things have been so crazy, and we really just need to process, to ground ourselves, to calm down a little bit, and to make sure that we know exactly who we are, what we want, and the direction that we want to go moving forward, so that we don't sort of jump forward and end up taking ourselves off course in some type of way because we didn't have that very solid mental framework established that I feel like this period of time is kind of calling for. So that as well, and again, delays, limitations, frustrations, interfering with our progress and forward movement at this point in time could be sort of making our view of reality feel a little bit more dreary or gloomy or pessimistic or depressed, but we don't want to attach to the current state of things, and we just need to keep working. And I mean, that is, like I said, like that is a very good way to use this energy right now, is to work on ourselves with Mars and Jupiter in the sign of Aries together. If we can't take that forward movement, we really need to be putting some focused, diligent study and investigation into our own selves and establishing this mental framework that is solid for us, that we are sure of, and that can help us move forward in the proper trajectory once we get out of this sort of like waiting room period that we are in right now. Misunderstandings, you guys, miscommunications, misinterpretations could be very prominent in this energy as well. I mean, not only are we talking about Mercury retrograde, but we're also talking about Mercury in square to Saturn. This in and of itself can bring delays in communications or interfere with, create challenges in like truly understanding things properly and stuff like that. It kind of takes this Mercury retrograde up to another level. And then also today with that moon in the sign of Gemini, also forming the square to Neptune, this can also make us, like I said, like a little bit foggy, or our words not coming out right, or bring a little sense of disorientation to the things that might be transpiring and going on right now. So there's really 3 different features of our chart today that are indicating the potential for misunderstandings, miscommunications, misinterpretations. So we want to be very, very sure, again, that we are communicating clearly, practicing active listening, not necessarily making assumptions in this energy, and, really being sure that what we're saying is what we mean and what we're hearing is what the other person meant, and that we're taking it that way. So these type of things could definitely be playing out for us in this energy as well. And again, this also plays into the reason or the rationale as to why we may be perceiving things as just a little bit heavier right now generally, because again, we are likely misinterpreting, misunderstanding what is actually happening as a result, in my perception, with the way this chart is playing out, of this lag this lag between like the spiritual planes and the 5D and the 3D and what is like physically manifest and presenting for us. So we don't want to be getting ourselves upset or attaching to some more negative vibrations that actually do sabotage our progress going forward, because we're holding that and we're attaching to that, or we're fearing that in one way or another, which magnetizes it to us. We don't want to actually become like a self-fulfilling prophecy in this energy because we are attaching to these feelings. What we need to attach to is our faith and our knowing. We still do have Mercury in the sextile to Neptune, and with the square to Neptune from the moon in Gemini today, this does give us a stronger ability to fantasize and envision the things that we want, to connect to the spiritual planes on the higher levels, I guess you could say, of our conscious awareness. We can use that today to sort of help pull us out of any of the more heavy mental vibrations that may be getting us down. That is something, but we don't want to attach to the current state of things, because you guys, we are sort of like Like what we're seeing today is sort of more so the result of, you know, where we've been, I guess, and not necessarily where we're going. Like I said, I just don't feel like these energetic and vibrational shifts have truly merged with the 3D yet. So I feel like maybe that is what could be bringing up some of this struggle that we might be dealing with at this point in time. But you guys, as I said, and I'm going to say it again, a very good day for this focused work, study, investigation, like self-analysis, getting to the core and the root of our own issues, spiritual discovery, self-discovery, that type of stuff, very supported in this energy. Mercury and Saturn, this gives a very strong ability to concentrate, and Jupiter and Mars together. This is an expanded ability to put some work into something. Saturn also rules work. So, you know, putting some hard work into specifically our own self-discovery and figuring our stuff out, you guys. Like, again, this mental frameworks, this rethinking our reality, this revisualizing or reconfiguring what we want our future path to look like based on these recalibrations and these changes that are happening with us right now. And just, you know, putting our nose to the grindstone in one type of way is a beneficial way to use this energy today. Now, another thing that we have playing out in the energy today is that we have actually Venus, you know, our love and money planet, coming into a unique point in the sky in her home sign of Taurus. She is going to be forming a conjunction to the Chiron point today. The Chiron point is located at 4 degrees of Taurus, and this is the point in the sky where Chiron was originally discovered, and it holds all of the same archetypes and frequencies, vibrations, features, I guess you could say, of Chiron himself. And so when we have Venus coming into alignment with the Chiron point, this could definitely be triggering and bringing up some type of financial or relationship-based issues, triggering issues or wounds in regards to love and money in some type of a way. But when we're dealing with the Chiron energetic, it's actually for the point of activating some type of heart healing collectively that is going on right now. And, you know, when we talk about heart healing, this translates into all of the Venus themes, you know, worth, value, money, relationships, because when we go through a heart healing and, you know, we open more on a heart-based level and our heart frequency and come back more into this place of unconditional love and forgiveness and acceptance and, you know, being more receptive about things, it is related to that self-love. It's related to that worth and value and our ability to therefore attract and receive it externally as well. And so really, you know, when we're dealing with the Venus archetype, it all comes down to our relationship with ourself, and therefore that extrapolates into the state of our finances, the state of our personal abundance, the state of our relationships, and all of that type of stuff. So when we have Venus coming into a conjunction with the Chiron point, ultimately, this is the purpose for activating some type of collective heart healing, although it may initially be triggering some wounds, as that is how the Chiron archetype works. It brings us through some type of painful or traumatic experience for the purpose of actually breaking us free from a cycle that was comprised of these painful or more traumatic experiences. We are able to gain a sense of wisdom through the experience and to learn about this process of initial wounding, and therefore come to a point of self-knowledge and an ability to heal and alchemize and overcome and transcend these experiences, and really come to a place of self-mastery over these experiences and over the experiences, therefore, that we are going to create for ourselves going forward. Chiron is a very, very powerful vibration, frequency, and archetype, and it is a very crucial part actually of our energetic transcendence into the age of Aquarius, because the hero's journey that is represented by the Chiron archetype is essentially one in the same with the vibrational and energetic shift that we are going on right now as we are transitioning ages into the age of Aquarius, because the age of Aquarius, this is the age of self-knowledge, self-empowerment, self-mastery, and ultimately co-creation with God and universe. And that hero's journey, that Chiron archetype also brings us through this process of transmuting our victimhood ultimately into a state of self-mastery, self-empowerment, self-healing, self-knowledge, ultimately co-creation with God and universe. So they really go hand in hand. They really are accomplishing the same purposes. And, you know, I do feel like that is also why for our new moon in Aries this year, which is the energetic unfolding all year long, we also had that new moon in a 1-degree orb off conjunction to Chiron. And this entire year is really, to me, like a collective hero's journey that is taking us on this internal alchemization out of states of victimhood into states of self-mastery, which is this very integral part of our energetic shift and transition into the age of Aquarius. So it kind of fits perfectly and goes together. But that is another feature of the energy that's playing out today in the midst of this Mercury Saturn energy that we also have going on very strong. So there is a dynamic of this energy today that may be bringing up relationship issues, that may be bringing up financial issues, resource-based issues generally, but it is for the purpose of actually helping us to improve and heal our relationship to our own self and our own sense of self-value, self-worth, and self-love in one way or another. That then has the outward implication of improving our external relationships, our financial circumstances and situations, and our ability to attract and receive abundance and what will bring us our heart's true form of fulfillment in this experience, as we are also in this 222 year, which is trying to align us with the things that will help us attract and receive what will bring us our heart and soul's true fulfillment. So we have that sprinkled in there today as well. And then, as I said, lastly, Mars and Jupiter still in a 1-degree orb conjunction in the sign of Aries, fighting for personal truth and the freedom to pursue it. Really a very significant facet of all that is interweaving with each other and itself and playing out today. And this energy as well. Now, I do want to talk about a couple of the Sabian symbols today also before we get into the tarot, because I feel like they're also sort of explaining what is going on right now in the energy and with this chart. Number one, we have the sun today at 11 degrees of Gemini. That Sabian symbol is newly opened lands offer the pioneer new opportunities for experience. And we have the earth today, the state of things on the ground, at 11 Sagittarius, always polar opposition to the sun, the lamp of physical enlightenment at the left temple. And with these two specific Sabians in effect, I do feel like this is talking about some type of very significant mental shifts that we are going on right now, some type of an enlightenment that is coming to us that is actually going to be opening us up to receive some important opportunities. I was saying this yesterday as well with the chart that we had going on for the new moon with the earth at the degree about the golden-haired goddess of opportunity. Something about the shifts that are going on, this pause period that we're in, the enlightenment, the lamp of physical enlightenment at the left temple, what we are gaining in this retrograde period, what we are reevaluating, what we are reconsidering, what we are rethinking, what we are reframing mentally at this point in time is actually going to open us up to be able to attract some type of significant opportunities coming up as we get through this cycle and things start to move forward again and we sort of come out of this pause period. So I find it interesting that those are the symbols being described by the placement of the sun and the earth today as well. Mercury still at 27 degrees of Taurus, an old Indian woman selling beads and trinkets. Again, the sign of Taurus, Mercury in the sign of Taurus, retrograde ruling our cycle that we're in right now. To me, this reevaluation, what we're rethinking, what we're reconfiguring, reconsidering, reframing in our minds is very much to do with our own resources, with our own potential, with our own creative potential, what we can do with that and how that can translate into something that can actually help support us physically, materially in the 3D world moving forward. This old Indian woman selling beads and trinkets, she's likely created these things with her own two hands and her own creative ingenuity, her own inner resources. And this is the degree. And now she's selling them to create a financial situation that can stabilize her in the 3D world. And with the North Node also in Taurus right now, this degree is very, very much in alignment with basically the Taurus themes and the Taurus archetypes. And, Mercury, our ruler of our current cycle at this degree, slowed down, retrograde at this degree, and in the sign of Taurus as well. This is a reconsideration of our potential and of our inner resources and what we can do with those to help us detach from this crumbling old paradigm, the matrix of the past, the paradigm of the past that has been supporting us perhaps for a long period of time, but now we are stepping into the truth of our own power, reawakening to our personal potential and what that means for us and what we can really do with that as we are liberating ourselves to move down this path in alignment with our authentic expression and abilities in this Mars-Jupiter energy. This is also risk-taking energy, Mars and Jupiter in the sign of Aries. Really wants to set out in a new direction in a big way and is not really too concerned with fears or doubts or insecurities or worries or anything like that. Like very charging ahead, risk-taking energy as a result of this increased faith and trust and belief in ourselves that also comes with this Mars Jupiter energy. Very contradictory energy we have going on. It's like on one hand, the Saturn Mercury energy may have us just like doubting our ability to make any type of progress or have any type of success. But then on the other hand, we have this Jupiter Mars, which in the sign of Aries, which is really giving us faith and trust and confidence in and belief in ourselves to be able to charge ahead in this new direction based on our personal truth and the freedom to do so. So yeah, you guys, it could just bring up some internalized tension or some conflict, or again, this more depressed, pessimistic attitude as a result of really wanting to move forward in this new direction, but also perhaps like doubting whether that's even a real thing that we can put our faith and trust in. So we have that as well. But then, Venus, the Chiron point, that Sabian symbol today, a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Ultimately, that is where all of this is going in this 222 year as we are shifting ages right now, moving into the age of Aquarius. This energy is trying to, and again, we're talking about Venus, we're talking about value, we're talking about self-love, we're talking about resources, we're talking about Mercury at that degree, 27 Taurus, Venus's sign, retrograde in the square to Saturn. Like that is what we're doing. We are gaining a new perception. We are reframing our own relationship to our own self, our internal resources, the value that represents, and the healing actually that brings us in terms of our ability to step into our power and to be able to create and execute these things going forward, and also open to receive what can bring us our heart and our soul's true form of fulfillment moving forward in this 222 year as we are leaving so much behind, going through all of these massive shifts, detaching ourselves from the things that we may have carried with us quite a long way, but are no longer serving us and are actually appearing as though they are detrimental to our growth and our progress at this point in time. We are breaking karmic loops as well, South Node in Scorpio, karmic detox, and ultimately trying to open us to this pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, this 222 year. And that's what it's trying to bring. So that's how I'm reading this chart today, you guys. It could be a little bit more of a, again, this whole cycle, I'm feeling like we may sort of be like experiencing this push and pull, sort of oscillating back and forth between what could be some like very high highs with Mars and Jupiter together in Aries, and also these like very low lows with this Mercury Saturn retrograde energy that we have going on as well. So we may sort of be like up and down quite a bit over the course of this cycle and over the course of today. But ultimately, you guys, like I said, we are just in a processing period right now where we are reframing and trying to establish some sturdy foundations in terms of our view of ourselves, our view of reality, and what we truly want and desire moving forward. So we can be sure when we do sort of explode forward down this new path that we are moving in the right direction, that is not actually going to turn into yet another thing that hinders our growth and takes us off course moving forward. So that is what I have to say for the astrology today, you guys. Now let's talk about the tarot for a minute. Tarot time, everyone. Got some interesting cards coming out of the deck this morning. We actually got 4 cards coming out of the deck, and then we got, the card on the back of the deck that we're going to look at as well. Quite a few reversals coming up in our cards for today. And it's interesting because the first card that came out in reverse was the Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords, you guys, this is that air energy. This is the fastest moving knight, right? This is the messenger knight. This guy is like flying, running super fast through the air, and he has a message to deliver. But when it comes out in reverse like this, to me, this is like blocked progress. Like information not moving forward, like being limited or held back or restricted in our expression or in our communication in some type of a way. The Knight of Swords in reverse to me is like very, very indicative of this Mercury retrograde Saturn energy that we have going on, holding us back, stifling our expression, limiting our ability to rush forward in this new direction from this new like frame of mind. And then the next card that we had coming out was the 10 of Swords in reverse. And then we had the 4 of Pentacles in reverse. So it's like, yes, we are like sort of blocked right now in making the forward progress that we want to make. But this is telling me that we actually need to surrender the pain that we may have been experiencing. Like we need to let go of the fears and the doubts and any sense of feeling essentially like we're just like done, like we're over it, like we can't go on. Like this is the 10 of Swords. This is like, you know, the end of something, right? And with it being in reverse, we need to, and also the 4 of Pentacles. This is a card of holding tightly on to something. You know, if the cards had come out like this, it would be saying, you know, that we are very tightly holding on to whatever it is, like feeling like the end of us in one way or another. But with them coming out in reverse, to me, this is like sort of saying that we need to release ourselves, to let go of any feelings of like inability to move forward or inability to move on, or, you know, opening up to another chance, like to a rebirth, to the beginning of a new cycle, and not holding so tightly to the things that we are losing, or to what is falling away, or to what is ending at this point in time. Even though we may feel like blocked and stifled, we don't want to attach to that and feel like we're going through some type of death, even though, you know, that energetically is sort of what has been going on. We really have been going through sort of a collective death and rebirth energetically over this past period of time. But universe in these cards, the way they're coming out, is asking us not to hold on to that and not to attach to it. The card that came out actually after that was the 3 of Cups. And so this to me is sort of saying, first of all, that if we are dealing with these negative feelings that we can't seem to let go of, there is a need to sort of reunite with spirit, like the Holy Trinity, and really bring ourselves into that, like get our mind, body, spirit back in proper alignment. But this is also talking about, you know, rejoicing and going out and having some fun, connecting with some people who are like-minded and who can just, you know, give us a sense of joy or pleasure. We don't want to get so caught up in the doom and gloom of our situation and of this lack of forward movement. We really want to do is try to seek some type of connection, either with, you know, the different dimensions of ourselves, or with God, spirit, higher power, or with these like-minded people and individuals. But we want to bring some type of joy or pleasure or celebratory aspect of something into it. We want to sort of try to lighten the mood in some type of a way. We do not want to be holding on to the things that have gotten us down, to the things that have broken us, to the places where we feel like we can't go on and we have nothing left to give. We really want to try to turn that energy into some type of union with either those higher dimensions of ourselves, God, spirit, higher power, or with the people, finding some people that we can connect to that can sort of make us feel alive again. And then on the back of the deck, we had the 5 of Wands. And to me, this is a card of like inner conflict, or this could be these conflicts that are going on externally as well. Because a lot of times when we have inner conflict going on, this translates into actual like external conflict with people, circumstances, situations in our lives. Actually, under that on the back of the deck too, we have the 7 of Cups. So there may be a sense of inner conflict that is also coming up because of these options, choices, decisions that we need to make at this point in time. And maybe, you know, having an inability to perceive those clearly, being in some type of lack of clarity in terms of knowing what choice to make, knowing what path to take, knowing what will come of us if we choose, you know, X, Y, or Z. And that could be bringing up some type of inner conflict. Or this could be, as I said, conflict in terms of these rules, these restrictions, institutions, these authority figures, or our ability to express ourselves in one way or another, moving in this energy as well. And this could also be an inner conflict that we may be experiencing right now pertaining to, you know, these two different things that we may be dealing with, this 10 of Swords energy, where we may just be feeling like defeated and done for and like we can't go on, but simultaneously recognizing the need to sort of join with other people and to like uplift our spirit in one way or another as well. Could be bringing up some type of inner conflict, or the conflict that we may be having with others may be causing a sense of confusion as well, with that 7 of Swords coming up in terms of, you know, whether we can actually do this, whether we can actually, you know, surrender this pain and these feelings of loss, desperation, just sort of being done with stuff in order to open ourselves back up, to find the joy, to find the connection in life again. And with the Knight of Cards, or the Knight of Swords in reverse coming out first, this is definitely talking about a lack of streamlined flow of things and progress and forward movement at this point in time. So you guys, what I'm basically saying, what this all boils down to in a nutshell, is don't get too down on yourself and don't feel like just a total failure and just like you've got nothing left to give and like put a fork in me, I'm done type of vibe. If things just don't seem to be moving forward right now, despite all of our best efforts over the past months and, you know, perhaps even years working towards these goals, because I really think that, you know, Knight of Swords in reverse, what we are, our physical reality right now is experiencing a lag in terms of the work and the effort that we put in, and we don't want that to be sort of like the last straw, you know, that this perception, because that's what it is a perception. So that's what I have to say for the tarot today, you guys. Let's draw one more card. We're going to draw a synchronicity card. This is just going to be a little message from God to give us some additional insight, information. Oh, there it is, that we may need to get through our experience today. And this card actually says, you guys, obstructions removed. So I feel like that is what we're dealing with right now. We may be in a period where we are facing some obstructions, some limitations, some drawbacks. However, this is also the period where these obstructions are being removed so that we will be able to move forward, moving forward in a way that is most conducive to our growth. It says, rest in me, I have gone ahead and removed every stone. We are waiting on divine timing right now, you guys. God has gone before you and removed every obstacle. Any obstacle you perceive is a product of your own imagination. Let go and let God lead you. There is no wrong action. There is only right action. Follow the leads which come to you. So this again is saying that there is this mental component of these obstructions, these limitations that we are facing right now. Any obstacle you perceive is a product of your own imagination. As within, so without. We may be internally going through these struggles and these frustrations and these confrontations with our own perceived sense of limitation right now. And we need to realize that any waiting period that we are in right now is really a period of processing our own shifts and changes that have been going on, and in divine timing, the path will be presented and we're actually in a period of obstructions being removed, even though we may on the 3D plane in our physical experience be perceiving this as a time of enhanced obstructions, just because we are in this lag in my perception based on the way that the energy is presenting. So that's what we have today from the synchronicity card. Obstructions removed, even though we may be perceiving obstructions. A lot of it has much more to do with our own internal processing that needs to go on at this point in time. So that is what I have to say, you guys. Message from the stars, message from the cards. If you guys liked this, please give me a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends if you think that they would be interested. Leave me comments, you guys. I absolutely love you so much. I love your comments. I love your feedback. It means so much to me. Your support means seriously everything to me. I'm so grateful for you. I have a Facebook page, a Facebook group, a website, and some other social media stuff in my description box below. And come back with me tomorrow, you guys. I'm actually going to try something different for tomorrow. Tomorrow will be June 1st. And so instead of doing a video specifically just of the day of June 1st. I'm actually going to do an overview of the month of June for my video tomorrow. Just like sort of look at how this whole month will be unfolding. So we'll see, you know, if you guys and YouTube likes that, maybe I'll keep doing it. So that's my plan for tomorrow. I will be here. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. Have a beautiful day, everybody, and I will see you then. Bye, guys.